Spark Infinity. Welcome to another mini spark otherwise known as Conversations with Fascinating People. And my guest today is exactly that. Very fascinating and a very inspiring story to share with us. Michael, how are you doing?
I'm doing well, David. Thank you very much for allowing me to be a guest this evening on your show to inspire your audience, to give people hope, inspiration, and draw awareness to workplace injuries such as mine, which was back in 2006.
Pleasure is mine. And today we set it up at Michael's suggestion, a Q&A. The community's been awesome. They've provided some really great questions. So I'll acknowledge Susanna and Maria up front for giving me a list of questions to ask you today, Michael. But before we get to the questions, briefly, what should we know about you and what happened?
Prior to my accident, I was living on cloud nine. I was recently married, father of twin children, and working for Molson Coors Canada as field marketing manager. Life could not have been any better. I was well surrounded by family members, friends, co-workers, etc., playing team sports, working in a professional career, excelling in all areas of my life. And then on May 18, 2006, the wave came crashing down. I was driving up to attend a work function in Kelowna, BC with Molson. I was driving my van with my family as my family was going to stay with friends while I worked at the work function. And then on May 18, 2006, at around 9 o'clock in the morning, we were involved in a single vehicle rollover. The van that I was driving rolled and rolled and finally came to a stop. My son was induced into a 10-day coma. His twin sister had a bloody nose, and I fell asleep for 6 months. I was told he was in a coma for 6 months. Doctors said that nothing could be done for me, that I'd never speak, eat, or walk ever again. Now, I've had 19 years of physical rehab provided by WorkSafe BC because my injury was a workplace accident. So they provided me with physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech therapy, everything to allow my game to go to the next level. But besides that, David, it takes two things. It takes support and it takes inner drive. Like the individual has to want to make the changes, has to have the fire within to make it to work, etc. The reason why I've done so well in my rehab is because of two things. When I was a teenager back in Quebec City growing up, I played ice hockey, baseball, soccer. I was very competitive in all areas of my life, at work, in my family life, in sports, etc. So I think that those traits allowed me to conquer the world of having a TBI. Now, after I had my accident, May 18, 2006, I fell into a coma for 6 months. So my father then, who relocated from Quebec City, did some research on the internet and discovered that HBOT or hyperbaric oxygen would help me awaken. The funds were raised by my family members, co-workers, teammates across Canada for me to undergo that type of therapy because, as you know, David, in Canada, hyperbaric oxygen is not a proven treatment for traumatic brain injuries. I was carried in on a stretcher 5 days a week into the hyperbaric chamber. After 3 treatments, my eyes opened, and that was the start of my recovery, which was, David, on December 24th, 2006. Now, as I mentioned before, the last 19 years have been nothing but drive and support various therapies which help me take my game to the next level. So I'm here today to give people hope, inspiration that anything is possible when you believe. and to
Mm,
draw awareness, especially, Dave, which is very important, to workplace injuries or accidents. Because as I know, life can change in the blink of an eye, which it did in my case.
mm. Thank you for setting the stage for this conversation. That's perfect. And the accident took place on Coquihalla Highway, is that correct?
That is correct. I was driving from Vancouver to Kelowna to attend a work function, and the accident happened. I was told at 9 o'clock in the morning. They assumed that an animal crossed the highway. I swerved to avoid the animal, and the van that I was driving rolled and rolled and rolled.
Mm, unbelievable. The first question from our community was, what was your first thought after the accident happened? I guess you weren't maybe conscious, but after you woke up, maybe.
Well, David, I would say that my sense where I came back to reality was basically after the third treatment of hyperbaric oxygen when my eyes awakened. I have no memory, of course, of the accident, which
Mm,
was May 18, 2006, or my time in the hospital at all. So that has been blanked out as the defensive mechanism of the brain does not
yeah,
want to remember. So I have no memories of that whatsoever.
totally fair. Do you have any regrets?
I have absolutely no regrets.
Mm,
I lived life to the fullest before my accident injury with sports, at work, family life, friends, etc. I was thriving, I would say, in all the areas of my life. And I would say right now, David, that I am thriving in the world of rehab at the moment. I give my rehab nothing but 180%, whether it be improving my walking, my balance, my speech as well, which, David, as you first know, when I was only able to say one word per breath, I, how, are. So you see, my breast support has got much better over the years, but that gives you just an idea of what I had to relearn again, like how to breathe properly from your lower diaphragm, etc. So that is one of the things, amongst many others, like things like having to relearn how to eat again because
mm,
I was on a stomach duty, which nourished my whole system, etc. So I had to relearn how to eat on a puree diet. Everything had to go through a blender, and all my beverages needed thickener. Now I'm pretty well able to eat anything with no difficulty at all. But things like brushing your teeth, shaving, like for example, David, when I learned how to shave again, I looked like a poster boy for Band-Aids because I had so many nicks and knacks all over my face. So eating, shaving, things that we all take for granted, like how to use a washroom, how to shower independently, safety, etc. So things like that. I've had to learn everything again, how to walk again, step by step. My injury was May 18, 2006. And as you can see on my back wall, I was presented with the Courage to Come Back Award back in 2012. Though it took me basically 5 years to learn how to walk again. I used a machine called the local mat, and my physical therapist at that time's name was Pauline Martin, who owned and ran Neural Motion. They placed robots over my legs, and they took my leg through the walking motion step by step and inch by inch. And David, now I can proudly say that I'm able to walk safely, independently with a cane today.
and this is connected. What's been the hardest part about recovery?
I would say that the hardest part has been my loss of friends,
Mm,
contacts, coworkers, but my previous life. Like before, I was a social butterfly, excelling in all areas of my life: work, family, sports, recreation, etc. I can count basically now on two hands the amount of quality people that I have in my life. But David, there's no anger on my behalf, there's no regrets, there's no rage. because everyone has different priorities and focuses. Mine at that time was to stay alive, was learning how to breathe, how to eat, how to walk, etc. So David, that was my life before versus my life now. I am content when I shave in the morning in the mirror. I am happy with who I see in front of me. I have no rage, no anger, no crying episodes. My former wife asked for divorce after my injury, etc., which I totally understand why. She was pregnant with twins at that time and faced to, she was told that I would never wake up again from my coma. So she did what was best for our children at that time. So David, that is one of the things I had to go through, but I'm totally okay with that today.
Did you ever go through depression and did you ever contemplate suicide?
David, when you are well supported by, hey, so I'll just think, slow down. When you are supported by number one, work say BZ, by my father, who's my advocate, who makes all the key decisions or some decisions in my rehab at the moment, which allows me to make progress breath by breath, step by step, etc. So there's absolutely nothing, no anger, no rage, no hurt, no regrets at all.
Well,
David, I'll say this, my injury, if I had to redo it again in a heartbeat to become
well,
who I am today, I would do it again, Dave, without blinking an eye. I would do it again because, like I said before, when I'm shaving in the morning in the mirror, I like who I see in front of me. I have no anger, no disparity, no rage at all. What happened, happened. You turn the page, you move on, that's it. And that's what I'm doing step by step, inch by inch.
well. What had you persevere?
Sorry, say again, David.
What had you persevere when things were tough?
I would say this. The thing that kept me going when I was going through maybe difficulty at times was the fact that I was able to see small progress with my recovery, whether it be breath by breath, step by step, inch by inch. And also because of the great relationship that I had with my former wife, I would say that she and her and I are now the best of friends
Mm.
because we both care about our children and how they're doing today. So there's no rage, there's no disappointment, there's no anger at all.
Has music been part of your healing journey?
I would say, David, no, I would say that when the 80s, if I think back to the 80s when I was in high school, I was a dancing machine. But now, because of my brain injury, I do what we call the brain injury dance, step by step. So I would say no, that no,
Hmm.
music has not been really. I have it on the background from time to time, but I would say it's nothing I focus on mine right now at the moment.
So, in a way, you kind of answered parts of this question, but I'll ask it. While you were rehabilitating, which is you're still doing, who could you talk to about the accident and who did you avoid? Or who could you share authentically about what you were going through?
I would say that the person that I would most share it with throughout my recovery has been my father, who's
Mm.
been my biggest advocate from day one. My mom and dad were living in Quebec City at the time of my accident, and they relocated to Vancouver permanently the day after to give my family and I all their support. So I would say that my relationship with my father and mother are much stronger today than what it once was. For example, my father to this day is 80 years old. He continues to go walking with me once a week at the track to perfect my walking, my balance, movement, etc. They're very much involved in my recovery, and we have a great relationship. And so I'm very proud of what it's done for Michael's, Bob, and Susie's relationship overall.
Mm. This is a fascinating one too. What's one thing we would never about know about the experience that no one ever asks? Or what is something that no one ever asks you about what you've been through?
Well, I would say that I have no memory at all of my time in the hospital or the actual accident. I think what the brain does, David, it blocks out what you don't want to remember. So, of course, I don't have no memories at all of the scene of the accident. Although to this day, I have some pictures in record on file that allow me to see scenes of the accident, what we went through, etc. But they are just there. They don't cause no more emotion when I see pictures of the scene of the accident. I don't cry. I'm not emotional. I'm not down, etc.
Hmm. What is your what is your life purpose and did that change after the incident?
Oh, definitely.
Hmm.
Like before my excuse me, before my accident, as I said, I was living on cloud nine. I was living life in the fast lane at work, sports, family, etc. My injury has made me slow down, made me realize what's really truly important in life: family, friends, good health, etc., excellent health. And it makes me realize that that is my purpose in life, is to draw awareness to workplace injuries and how life could change in the blink of an eye. And I'm just an example of someone who's had support, who has drive, purpose, etc. And this is what allows me to wake up in the morning with a smile on my face each day, ready to face the day's challenges.
Hmm. And here's one more question from the community. What is your message to the world?
I would say that my message originally was anything is possible when you believe and when you have support. But I would also like to tweak my message to making people realize slow down, be cautious at all times, and draw awareness to workplace injuries. That life could change it within the blink of an eye, as it did in my case. So I think my whole accident happened to make others realize, hey, slow down at work. Be careful, whether it be your steps, your movement, your handling a knife, you're a chef in the kitchen, etc. You're a construction worker, just be careful at all times because, boom, life can change like that.
Hmm. I would echo that. And a couple of questions from myself. One is, what are you passionate about now?
Well, here I am, David, 19 years post accident, and I must say this. To this day, I'm still passionate about my rehab. I'm
Hmm.
still committed fully to getting, improving my walking, my balance, my speech, my everything. So my rehab, I would say, is something that I'm very passionate about. My children are number two. They give me drive, they give me purpose, they give me motivation. They light the fire within me, the torch within me. So that is what keeps me going.
Hmm. How much time do you spend on rehab daily?
I would say that I spend 6 days a week,
Hmm.
pretty well the bulk of the day. Like I basically have one rehab activity in the morning of each day, as well. I have one rehab activity in the afternoon. For example, David, this morning I went to the gym for a 2 hour session this morning, and this afternoon I worked on some cognitive exercises. My goal is to give talks at conferences, etc. So right now I'm pursuing one that's going to be occurring in November in UBC this year. So see, these are the types of things that I'm involved in. My rehab schedule looks like this. 2 days a week I go to the gym, which I did today. 1 day a week I have physiotherapy with a neurophysiotherapist. 1 day a week I work with a kinesiologist on movement patterns, what's safe, what's not. 1 day a week, David, I work with a registered massage therapist who works on my tight, contracted muscles. For example, my left arm is still like this. My right arm, this one is fully mobile. My left
Mm,
arm is still contracted because I suffer the right side diffuse axonal brain injury, which affects the left side of my body. So I
mm,
would like to question, David. My passion, my purpose is when I look behind me, David, my tank of rehab gas is still full at the moment after 19 years when it should be on fumes. Nothing but the fumes exist. But David, the thing that keeps me going is I keep making small progress in my recovery. It's breath by breath, step by step. It's not leaps and bounds, but that enables me to be content with who I am now in life. And that fuels a fire within me. So those things like that. Seeing continuous progress is what keeps lights the torch within me, keeps me going, wanting more, etc.
mm. Amazing. What are you most looking forward to right now?
I will just give that question a bit more thought.
Okay, yeah, that's fine.
David, okay, again, the thought just came to me. My next, what I'm looking forward to the most is I want to draw awareness to workplace accidents. And I want to make people to realize that hey, life can change in the blink of an eye. I've been so well supported by WorkSafe BC the last 19 years that I feel that this is a small thing that I could do to draw more awareness to workplace injuries, accidents, etc. Whether it's a neck sprain, back sprain, or an injury like mine, which was a car accident back in 2006, which left me totally horizontal for 6 months.
Yeah. Well, I'm inspired, and I'm sure our community is inspired. So, in closing, I just want to give you a platform to say whatever you'd like to say. So, Michael, what would you like to share with us in closing?
Uh, I just would like to thank you, David, for having me as a guest here this evening to share my story with your audience, to give people hope, inspiration, and hopefully we do a bit of awareness to workplace injuries, which is going to make people slow down, be cautious, be safe at work, etc., to prevent strains, injuries, accidents, broken bones, cut fingers, etc. So anyway, David, I want to thank you for allowing me to be a guest on your show, and I'm glad that we were able to make a small difference in people's lives, etc.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much, Michael. It makes a big difference. Really appreciate you. And everyone out there in Spark Infinity Land, thank you for joining us. Thank you for watching. We know many of you watch the replay as well. So, acknowledging all the amazing replay people out there. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks, Michael. We'll talk again soon.
Thank you, thank you.